Alright, so I own a lot of Optimus Primes. Well, a lot by my standards. Not all the ones I own are in this shot, because a lot of them are either boxed away or I just didn't feel like pulling them down. But I like almost all the Primes that I own and have had fun with almost all of them. But none, I feel, have been as much fun to mess with as this. So Prime, the show, is super important to me because it began airing late 2010, early 2011, depending on where you lived, which was a huge time for me. So for those of you who don't know, I used to live in Australia. I lived there for 3 years, 2008 to 2011. And late 2010 was when we found out we were moving back to Canada. And we started the move, packing everything away, selling stuff, you know, all that fun things. So it was a huge change in my life. I had just started high school in Australia because they started in year 7 and over here you start in grade 9. So during that time, something that kept my spirits up was Prime. My sister and I used to watch this show a lot. And so I really enjoyed Prime, but never got any of its toys back in the day due to the move and settling back into Canada. Now that I have the ability to buy all these toys, I've slowly been building my Prime collection up to something that I like. Waiting for that new APC Arachnid and Bulkhead because they will be sick. But one I actually wanted the official toy of was Prime. And this deco just rocks. Yes, I know there's an APC one that exists, I'm not buying it. So this is the Dark Guard Takara redeco of first edition Optimus Prime, and this is the best Prime I've messed with. It's my favorite transformation scheme, favorite design. I love the colors. The articulation for the time is really good, and the build is almost perfect. It's just a really nice toy. Don't get me wrong, things like Challenger and Naval Commander are awesome, MPM-12 is solid, Earthrise and Siege Primes are both really great, but this one, I don't know man, it's just something about it that just, it's awesome to me. The design itself I love. It's like a more simple and cartoony movie-like design, at least that's what it feels like to me. And it works surprisingly well in toy form. I've been so used to the Prime RID one for ages that this one just feels more and more impressive because like a year after this came out, we got the RID one, which is just not the best. I love the use of actual truck bits. The way it utilizes the truck to become the robot is just brilliant. It does do the whole fake chest thing, but it doesn't bother me. I don't really care. Like, this mold is so good that the Studio Series borrows a lot of engineering from this guy. The front of Studio Series Prime is the same as this one in the way that it transforms. The wheels end up on the shoulders, and how proportionally wide the upper body is per the show model is great. It's like the model jumped right off the screen. The back really does it for me too. The way they do the panel stacking to get the smokestacks on the back is great. It's a lot fucking better than the RID one, and it cleans up so well. The arms are super sick. The shoulder pads are awesome. Like, I didn't even know they had the little handle things on the inside of the shoulder pads like the show. Totally didn't know those were a thing till I got the actual toy. The legs are really cool, and this is where I have the only issue with the core robot. They look like they bow ever so slightly inward at the knees just due to the way it's sculpted, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's something that does bug me just a little bit. But I love the wheel position. I always like when Prime's wheels are on the calves as opposed to on the thighs. I don't know, it just works better for me. And the feet design with these large heels, it keeps him standing firmly. It's awesome. Accessories are weird. So you get his gun, which looks great, and it's pretty well sculpted, and it looks like his gun from the show. But the sword is odd. The sword is made up of this like weird soft material because safety laws, but it's so soft that it just bends and warps so easily. Mine was a bit messed up out of the box. Not the worst I've seen. I've seen one come out completely hooked, and that's, you know, unfortunate for that person. I also wish the hands could rotate properly with the gun in the hand, so that way he could hold the gun more show accurately, because that actually comes out of his arm kind of sideways. But it's not that big of a deal. The blade, though, I think still kind of sucks. Articulation on this dude is awesome. As you saw, it can do all the things you want. The waist is off-center because of the transformation joint, but it's not that bad. You can kind of fake the waist joint a little bit to make it look more natural, so I don't really care. I love the ankle pivots and the wrist swivels. It's just a really fun toy to mess with. Mine has a bit of a QC issue when you activate the ankle tilt too much. The legs come untabbed, but I just need to thicken the tabs up a little bit. That's not that big of an issue. Transformation is, like I said, a lot like the Studio Series. The front is legitimately the exact same, but the legs are different because the Studio Series one uses evasion mode Prime's engineering to transform the back. But the truck conversion is pretty simple and easy to understand, so you aren't struggling to fit pieces in like you do on the RID one, which just doesn't know how to get out of its own way. The truck looks awesome. I love the proportions of this thing. The gold highlights really help elevate that black deco, It's also a nicer length to me than the RID one, and the Earthrise trailer kind of works on it, so there's that. He can also Puth, the 10 out of 10. You can store the weapons on the back, but that looks like, well, normal weapon stores on a Transformer, which is to say, not the greatest. But it fits very well with the Nemesis trailer from Siege, and I really like its look. With the stickers, this would actually look really sick. I just think this truck mode is awesome. It's super clean and squared off. The gold rims and the silver on the sides are really nice. However, I do wish the bumper was silver too. It would have matched better with the side panels, but oh well. This thing is amazing, but like, no, not for that much. I got this off of Big BTS last year for 60 bucks, and they have since jacked up the price. But if you can find one for around 60 sealed, then I'd say definitely go for it. That is a kind of a difficult task to do. You could also just get the APC one. I believe there is no difference between this and the APC one engineering wise. They change the paint, but yeah, I don't think there's any difference. So if you want to experience this mold on the cheap, just grab the APC Toys one. Probably is just exactly the same. But this is my favorite Prime that I own. I highly recommend picking any version of this mold up because it's awesome. It's got great articulation, great aesthetics, great looks, great engineering. The transformation is fun and intuitive yet simple. The truck mode is awesome. If you have any of the new Optimus Primes that comes with a trailer, you can sort of put it on the back of that, kinda, and it fits really well. It looks awesome in a display. I absolutely love this toy and cannot recommend it enough. But that is my look at Transformers Prime First Edition Dark Guard Optimus Prime. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.